They're hiding from you because you might see the truth. They're self-medicating. That's the truth they're hiding because they don't want people to know that they're miserable. They made a bad decision. Rose-colored glasses. That's how they're looking at everybody else's life. It's a really sad situation. They had a wake-up call. That's why they're hiding. Professional bag fumbler. Yeah, the hiding. They didn't realize whatever they're doing to self-medicate has become apparent. Like, that could resonate in many ways. It doesn't have to be necessarily a substance, although it could be. But they know they can't hide it anymore if people actually see them physically. Again, doesn't have to be a substance, but there's just something that would become apparent to other people, especially people like you who know them, within like 5 seconds. You're going to be like, what? This isn't you. Or, look, they've fallen back into some bad habits or taken on new habits, but there's something about this person that just people are noticing, and they feel very self-conscious about that. In fact, somebody has already noticed. That's the wake-up call. And they know that you would notice for sure. You know who it is if it's for you. Someone who has been out of touch, out of reach, or someone who has usually tried to reach out to you but hasn't. Someone who maybe you've seen physically hide from you, like at the grocery store or something, where you're like, I can tell they're pretending not to see me. You were an important lesson for me. I couldn't be what you wanted. They feel like they've let you down in some way, or that they would let you down. Could be a friend or romantic interest, just someone who you had higher hopes in, someone who you had encouraged, had given to, maybe even beyond your means. And that's why they feel ashamed. This person does feel ashamed because you gave more than most people do, and they feel like they would let you down. They feel like they let you down, but that you haven't really said anything about it. Like, they know that you've held back a lot, that there are things you would love to say, but that you have been nice, nicer than they would have been. What fell on the floor? I choose you. Okay. This is a mistake they made, not choosing you. They're really not proud of that. They know they did something really bad. They made a very harmful, destructive decision that is impacting them in ways that if they don't change, it's going to impact their future. But they feel obligated to somebody else. They feel like they can't move on from this right now, but they're very ashamed. They don't want help, although I'll be honest with you, they need help. That doesn't mean you need to force it on them. They need to come to that conclusion themselves, because they're in a stage right now where they can't really be helped by outside sources because they don't want it. They're not open to it. I'm going to just imagine healing energy being sent to them. They feel like they can't stand up for themselves. And at times, I'm just being honest here, what I'm getting is that they feel that you have forced help on them before, and that it drove them away. Like, you were trying to do what's best for them, but it just wasn't the right timing. And you can't force that on somebody. Just that old saying, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. Like, they acted like they were drinking, they acted like they were taking your help, but then went right back. Look, this is somebody who does have hope. Like, anybody can change, and I'm getting this person wants to change, but there are certain behavior patterns they just can't break out of. And they have chosen the wrong person I'm getting the wrong crowd. Oh no, I just got that some might have joined a cult, or what some people would consider a cult, and they're not telling anybody about it. Take that as it resonates. This is a weird, tricky situation. This person's very ashamed of themselves, very ashamed of the life they're living right now. I mean, they are, but they're not. Like, when they're in that life, it's like they've entered a dream world. It doesn't have to be a cult. It doesn't have to be like that. But it just could be a relationship or a living situation. It is some kind of living situation. Or at least, if not that, it's like a very codependent thing where it's practically a living situation. They feel good when they're there. They feel good. It's like a drug. It's like, that could be the self-medicating, just this thing they don't want to break away from. When they get out of it, though, when they sort of leave that, I want to say consciousness, because that's what it is. It's all about where your consciousness is. That's why some people live in a dream world, like a delusion or whatever. It's almost like they go from one delusion to another, only it's not a delusion. It's real life. like entering a scene from a movie or a play. Like they enter this scene here and then they're a different person over here, and they don't mean to be that way. In fact, that's very normal, really, because think about it. You're not usually the same person at home that you are at work. Like let's say you work customer service where you have to be nice to people. You may not be that nice outside of that job. So that's what I'm getting here, is that it's that kind of thing, only amped way up. Like they have to act a certain way, but they don't mind it when they're in that zone, when they're around those people, because it's an energy shift as well. Because it's like they're getting in a situation where another person sort of plugs into that energy, because like attracts like. It's a very spiritual thing. That's why we go into rooms sometimes and we're just like, I don't belong here. What's going on here? And you don't even know why. It might even look friendly on the surface, but there's just some reason where you're like, oh, I got to get out of this room. Like you go to a party or a mall even. Like sometimes you're just around certain company. I know it happens to all of us, whether you want to think about it or not, whether you even know how to describe it, it happens. Like it's a spiritual thing. We're all spiritual beings. You can't keep it from happening. But there are also those times when it's like when you get in that place, you're like, I know once I'm there, I'm going to like it. That's what it is. But it's like when they get out of it, though, they're just like, oh, why am I doing this? But as soon as they get back in it, it's like, oh, I remember why I'm doing it. And it's probably not the reasons you think. There's a lot of shame here. I'm going to, what's the tea? Let's get some more clarity about this situation, because it's weird. And it's something that, honestly, I don't think this kind of thing would happen as much. Like, I think a lot of people are going through something like this. I don't even know how to describe it. I could sit here for 2 hours and talk about it, but a lot of this shift, people are lonely because of social media. A lot of stuff happened in 2020 that caused even more isolation. The world really changed. And this person found comfort with certain company that they normally wouldn't. And I could be talking to you or to a lot of people, or just something to watch out for, because our minds are not wired the same as they were before 2020. They're not. Even if you weren't really affected by 2020, you live in a world that was. So it's hard to keep that from affecting you. This thing where people are spending so much time alone. I mean, we weren't doom scrolling like this like 10, 20 years ago. You know, the doom scroll has gotten to people. Did you know that can actually shrink a part of your brain? You can look into that. Follow Kevin Trudeau. He talks about it, about how your hippocampus shrinks. Really, it's good to read, to spend more time in deep thought, thinking, like holding one thought as opposed to one thought after another after another. It's literally rotting our brains. Anyway, scarcity tactics. That's what has kept this person going, is every time they try to leave this situation, they know they're going to be easily replaced, because they know that the thing they're going to is in short supply. It's scarce. So they're afraid to leave. But they want a change. Like they're really torn. Really torn. But I know this has to do with something with social media, or just even the way social media has changed this person's brain. Like, it's not a decision they would have made 10 years ago or even 5 years ago. It was a result of spending too much time alone, wanting acceptance, learning things about themselves that may or may not be true. It all depends on what you want to focus on, because you can convince yourself you have a disease. You can convince yourself you have a mental illness. You can watch videos that make you think you have this or that, and it's going to eventually lead to you having this or that. That's how it works. Like, they feel like they're weak and they were susceptible, but what they have to understand, look, this is for that person, and it could be for you too. In fact, it could be for a lot of us. Even me. We are more susceptible to things now than we were, and it has to do with the fact that our brains are used to this constant social media. A lot of it's because of the isolation. Even if you yourself weren't isolated or ever worked from home or anything, you may have lost contact with people who were forced to isolate. I'm just saying, things have changed, and that's what led to this. And this person needs to be easier on themselves. That's why they're so ashamed, because it's hard. It's one of those things where even if you put out on social media, people aren't going to know how to deal with it. I mean, people are going to give you the worst advice, and in fact, they may have done that, because people on social media, look, you take one soundbite, people are giving you advice about it, not knowing your history, getting angry, not even knowing your full story. And that's what I mean. There's a lot of facets to this story. This person really needs, instead of like random social media advice, they need a full in-depth analysis, treatment. And it doesn't have to be substance related. Seriously, it could be something else, but they need a treatment facility or to be just in a better group of people. Because it's all about the company you keep. You're around people, you're going to start acting like them. You're going to start thinking like them. Unless you are constantly protecting that force field, that shield of protection around you, unless you're constantly just like imagining yourself protected, which eventually you're going to get out of that situation. You're going to get out of it because that becomes exhausting. Unless you're doing that, you're going to be susceptible to these other people's emotions and feelings and actions or whatever, and they've gotten in over their heads. And if you heard, like, if they told anybody about it, that's what I mean. Like, it's, you know, Stockholm Syndrome's a thing, and that was going on before social media, okay? Stockholm Syndrome, battered person syndrome, like, that's what's going on. I'm getting some, yeah, Stockholm Syndrome, whoa. But it's because this person was very lonely. And they feel like they have disappointed you over and over again. Okay, karmic friends, haunted, fake flexing, spiritual hater. They don't have the best attitude. In fact, they don't want to hear any of this stuff. Like, the last thing they want to hear is, I'm praying for you, I'm thinking about you. They don't want that. It's hard to explain to some people, but it's like, this person just wants help. They either want to be lifted out of the situation and never go back, or nothing. Even though sometimes all you can do is offer a person prayer or thoughts or meditation. That's all you can do. This person is really pushing all that away, all right? That's what I mean. Like, you gotta just let this person come to their own conclusions, because they're not going to accept help. They're not. Fake flexing. They're faking a lot. And that's the thing. Like, if you see them, other people who really know them see them, they're going to know that. Because things don't add up. Things don't add up. They're faking a lot. And it's mostly out of shame. Oh, I'm getting this person even signed some of their possessions away. And it doesn't have to be to an organization of some sort, but to a person. Like, they're trying to make the best of a bad situation. They don't realize that's what it is. It's like I said, Stockholm Syndrome. It's like a survival mentality. Your brain will play tricks on you to survive. You'll find little ways to make yourself happy and convince yourself that you're happy. And unless you've been in that kind of situation, you really have no idea. Haunted by the loss of whatever they had before, because they feel like they have lost a lot, and that's what they are really ashamed about. Really. Very sad, depressed, despondent. But they're putting on a false front in public, but people are seeing through it. Karmic friends, that's who got them into this. Look, this person has to go through this. It's not your place to help them, really. If you're going to pray for them or send them good thoughts, do it silently. Don't tell them you're doing it. It's not going to do anything but make them angry. I mean, you can tell them whatever you want. I just mean, you can't force something on someone, and that's what they don't want. It's like they need help, but they also don't want it forced on them. That's just going to repel them. So all you can do is love them from afar, send them healing energy, and just imagine the right thing happening for them. Imagine them getting out of this situation and coming to their senses, because they have to want the help. But like I said, they've done things that have sort of ensured that they can't leave. And that's sad. That's really sad. I mean, they could leave, but it would mean a big loss. It might mean some public news. It might mean people learning things that they don't want them to learn about them. Like, they just feel so ashamed and broken down, except for when they're in this certain situation. And it's like they just go right back to survival mode. They go right back to the self-medicating. And they don't even know how to explain it to other people. Like what I'm telling you this about Stockholm Syndrome, someone who's going through that doesn't know they have it. They don't know. And I've been in similar situations where, and I've seen so many people in it. And no, that is the last thing you need social media advice for. That's the last thing you want to put a video up about and have people tell you what's going on. No. This is a deep, deep issue that no one can really assess from just like a 5-minute conversation. they're going to have to want help. Here's what I got from this deck. You are divinely guided. You cannot pour from an empty cup. Say as little as possible. Go easy on yourself, and you are ready. Okay, this is telling me that what you have to do, look, say as little as possible. That's even to other people. Don't go around just, I know this person's going through something. Have you noticed this? It's not going to make it better. Not going to make it better. Say as little as possible about them and to them. Keep it in here, because that's as strong as anything, okay? Because this person look, if you do something drastic to try to help them, it's not going to end well, all right? It's not going to end well, because that's just not where they are. And you cannot pour from an empty cup, which is telling me you have been through this before, either with this person or with others like them, that you have poured yourself out to help this person. They are not there yet. You would regret doing that. May they get there soon. May they heal, get out of this situation, and everything be restored to them. But look, they made one mistake and another. It was just like a series of missteps, and then they feel like they just fell into a ditch and they can't get out. But when they're in that ditch, there's something that's keeping them there. Mainly shame. But like I said, you can convince yourself you like anything. This person has convinced themselves they like it, and they have found... Look, I just need to move on to the last deck. All you need to know is that forcing help on them isn't going to help. It's not help. Okay? They have to come to their own conclusions. They have to want to get help. Something drastic has to happen, but you don't need to make it happen. Not going to end well. Last card, you have positive thoughts. Send that toward this person. Don't have negative thoughts about them. Repel those negative thoughts. I can already hear some of the comments, and I'm not even going to speak what they are. I'm just going to say, do you want to ascend or not? Do you want to go to the 5D? Do you want to stay stuck in this 3D earth where it's all just fighting and anger and imagining bad things for people? This is how we ascend, is by going through these difficult situations and just, like, how would you really imagine this happening? Getting into arguments with other people, trying to form an army to help this person, gossiping about them. None of that's going to help. What's going to help is imagining them, connecting to their energy and saying, you are healed. You have everything restored to you that you lost. You are ready to leave this situation. Saying stuff like that silently inside. That's the only way it's going to happen. Do it quietly and just imagine it emanating from every cell of your body, going across the universe to them. Okay, that's the only way it's going to happen. You have positive thoughts. It is spoken, it is written, and so it is. Amen.